Doopy doopy doo. Oh. Oh. Right. I think that's it. I think I'm here. Am I here? I hope I'm here. It looks like I'm here. Oh my goodness. Can you just let me know if I'm here, please? Because I'm not sure if I'm here. Oh, Jan. Hi. Hi, Ali. Oh, right. I'm here. That's good. Because I was slightly concerned I wasn't here. I did have a little technical hitch, but, I did it. I sorted it out. Because that's how I roll. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, just a little faff, but, you got to have a little faff, haven't you? So, hello. This is my first time. Oh, yay. Brilliant. This is my first time doing a live for Funky Fossils, so it's quite exciting. Yeah. Oh, look at me. But it's Why Not Wednesday, so why not? So I've kind of done this thing where I have 3D'd one of the dies. This is my prototype, so it's a little bit squiffy, but it's all right. So I've 3D'd one of the dies, and I've added some of Nuneka's lovely spacemen, astronauts, and bits and bobs from her last collection. So I think it's quite cute. Hi, Liz. Oh, I'm glad you found me. So yeah, so that's what I'm going to do today. Yeah, I'm going to show you how I did this, and some of the pitfalls and the and some tips in how to do it as well. Because all is not as simple as it may seem. It's the funny thing is I did this one and I just kind of did it as a prototype to see if it would work. And then, of course, I had to spend a while then breaking it down and working out how. So these are some of the ones that didn't go in the bin. But I'll be keeping these because I can do some things with them. But what I wanted to do. Oh, lovely. Yeah, I'll show you how to do it, Jan. And also, if you have any questions, if anybody has any questions that you forget to ask tonight, just message me and I'll always answer you if I can. I really like to be as helpful as I can. So this is the die I've used. And of course you could use it with any collection, but I just think that these little Diddy spacemen work really well. And I've figured out through trial and effort. How dirty my hands are. It's all paint and ink. I figured out through trial and effort how to kind of break this down to as easy a process as I could come up with. So hopefully it will be okay. So let's crack on. So what you need to do first off is you need to cut yourself a few pieces. Now you'll need a piece to stick your back on. So you want to cut this, but it doesn't matter if you haven't got the antennae bit on there because we'll be cutting that bit off for the first layer. So I'm saying that because when I've been fitting them onto my card, to die cut them, you can get a couple. I can get sort of 3 with the antennae and 1 without, so that works perfectly. So yeah, so you'll want 1 for the back layer, and then another 1 for the back layer, which because we'll be adding that one on and building it up, and then you'll want 1 or 2 for the front as well. Okay, and you'll also want to cut one of these panels as well, and you'll want to cut yourself, unless you know, you could do it with plain card, or you can do it with I've used some of Nineka's patterned paper here. Just cut that out, but don't worry about getting the legs or the antennae. You don't need them. You just really want the shape, so you want to cut out something from that. And then when you've got all of those pieces, what you want to do is you want to cut yourself a strip of card. Now I've just cut a strip from an A4 piece of card, and what I've found is by using the A4, I'm probably about 1/2 inch shy of being the exact right length to go all the way around. So if you've got 12 by 12, you might want to cut it from 12 by 12, and then you won't have to patch up the little gap that's on there. So but I didn't mind patching up the little gap, because you don't actually see it. You know, you can't see it unless you turn it upside down. So there we go. So I've cut I cut this. The width I went for was 1 3/4 inches wide. So it's 1 3/4 inches wide, and I've done the length of an A4 piece of card, and then I've cut myself another little extra piece. I'm only gonna need it for 1/2 inch, and again that's 1 3/4 inches wide. And then what I did is I took my scoreboard and I've scored 1/8 of an inch on one side, and I've scored 1/4 of an inch on the other side. The reason I've had to score 1/8 of the inch on this side is because this side is for the front, and on the front there's some quite I'll show you, there's some quite fine pieces there, so you're going to need 1/8 of an inch there. You're not going to want anything bigger than that, but it's fine and it sticks and it does what you need it to do. So once I've done those score lines, hey Lou, once I've done those score lines, I just snipped on the 1/8 of an inch. I've just snipped all the way along, because it's so thin, it doesn't need any more than that. So I've just, hopefully you can see that's just snipped all the way along, just like a little fringe all the way along. And then on the other side, I've cut out lots of little triangles, because this side is a little bit wider. It needs those triangles cut out in order for it to sit nicely when we put it on to our piece. So then what you'll do is you'll take your back and you'll cut across here, cut off that antennae there for the time being. And then one handy tip I'll give you now at this point is don't add any glue. And just what you want to do is you want to train your card. Train it around those corners, give it a little bend all around the corners. Don't try and stick it before you've given it a little bend where it's going to need to bend, because it won't sit nicely again. Now I did try I did try doing it so I scored all the way along the board to give it some flexibility, and it didn't quite work. So I've gone with the flat card, but you need to just break down. Hi Astrid, hi Sue. You just need to break down those fibres where you want it to go around a corner. Just gently, just get it to have that shape to it, and just keep checking it against your background. So you're creating that shape to sit on there. I've tried doing it without doing this, and it really is a lot harder. It's well, I don't know. Hi Danny. I don't know how many. The strip is this, the one I've done for all of mine is 1 3/4 inches wide. It's 1 3/4 inches wide, and I've scored it at 1/8 of an inch on one side, the little side, and 1/4 of an inch on the other side. So it's 1 3/4, but you're going to lose what you're going to lose. You're going to lose 3/8 of an inch. So yeah, so you want to train that cardboard. Train the cardboard, bend it just nice and gently. Don't no scored lines or anything like that. And if you look, I've got a few little lines coming up there, so I'm just gently smoothing them on my fingers, and I'm creating that shape. And once I'm happy that things are going to sit where I want them to sit, that's when I start thinking about glue. So let me just pop this out of the way a minute. Now with the gluing, you want to just take your time. Just take your time. That's why I've done this one in advance, because I've cut the aerial off, and I've trained my cardboard, and I've just glued that one piece. And that's how you want to glue all of this back piece, is you just want to take your time and make sure it's sitting in place. And these are things that, it is going to take you, 5-10 minutes, but it's going to be worth it in the end, because you're going to have a great 3D element that before this was 2D. And also another little tip I'll give you: when you're gluing each little section, get it just past the corner each time. So I've sort of done mine in 3 and 4 sections. Just wait for the glue to grab, and once you know the glue is grabbing and it's where you want it to be, then you can move on to the next section. So it's one of those things that just takes a little time. Oh, it's good glue, isn't it, Ali? It is good glue. Yeah, the gems on the lids are a bonus. That's the sort of thing that makes me really happy. So you can see I'm just taking my time. I'm just holding it into place, not worrying about it. It's not going to take that much longer. It just needs to, you want it in place before you move on to the next bit. So then I'm going to come to this side, get my glue. There we go. Pop it on. Oh, I've gone all the way with that one. And then I'm going to just bring that round. Make sure it's in place. Hold it in place. If you're really confident, I suspect you could use red liner tape, but because we're training this card to go around corners and in an unusual shape, I think, to be honest, you're better off using a wet glue. There we go, and I've got one little bit here. See, so it didn't really take that long, but it just, you can't just whack it on there. Unfortunately, you do need to just give it a little bit of time. There we go. And don't worry if you get glue on your card. Don't worry, I'll show you how we can sort that out in a minute as well. So there you go. So that's the one piece from the A4 sheet. So I think that's, we'll say A4 is just over 11 inches. So I do think if you had 12 by 12 paper, I'm just trying to hide that light for you. If you had 12 by 12 paper and you cut a strip from that, it would probably be bang on the right size. So let me grab, so there's my little bit that I cut, and I know that I don't need this whole piece, I only need a little piece. So I'm just gonna add this into here now to fill my gap. There we go. And that's just to fill in that little gap, which if you've got 12 by 12 paper, you won't have. There we are. So that's I'm in place there now. So that's great. So I'm going to pop that one to one side because I want the glue to go off completely before I do the next bit, really. So you'd want to just give it 10 minutes just so you know the glue is all properly set. So this is the one that I've already done, and I've done exactly the same as I've just showed you. And then the nice thing that you can do with your die then is with the papers, you can, you can see, put it around on the paper and choose what bits of scenery you want to see. Or of course you can cut a plain piece of paper and create your own background. So now with this piece now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in, not even probably maybe a 1/16 of an inch or a couple of millimeters from the edge, because obviously, because it's exactly the same size as the back, this will be too big to pop in unless we trim a couple of millimeters off it. There we go. So I've just trimmed a couple of millimeters all the way around, and that means I can pop this in now, and it'll hide all of my little bits, and it'll give me a background. So it's a double whammy. So I'm just gonna get that all in there. Okay, and I can pop this in there now. Make sure it's in place. And so that's going to hide all of those little tabs that we put in there and create the background. That's right, Ali, absolutely. So the next thing I want to do now is I want to put my lid on my glue because I'm a monkey for forgetting to do that. Next thing I want to do now is I want to take I'm going to take another one of my die cuts and I'm going to stick this on the back. Go, just get some glue on there. I need to clean this nozzle. I think I've been naughty and left it without its lid on one too many times, perhaps. So just getting that glue on them. And I'm going to just put my finger over those ones because I don't want it all to squidge out. Put that on there and grab those little legs so that I can make sure everything's lining up nicely. So I've now got that back one on now. I could add another layer again, depending on, it depends what you're going to do with it. Oh, that sounds fantastic, Danny. Oh no, Angela. Hi, Steph. Don't worry, you can't be late to lives. It's absolutely fine. You can always watch back if there's something that tickles your fancy. So there we go. So I've put one layer on. Now, depending on what you're going to want to do with this and how much mixed media you're going to throw at it, what thickness of card you've used, you might want to put another layer on there. One of the things that I've found that I've done is once I've got it to this stage, sometimes I've reattached the aerial that I cut off just to strengthen this one. But it's best to cut it off in the beginning because it means that you can line this this edge up properly. If you leave it on in the beginning, it's quite difficult to line the edge up. So you can add another layer, you can re-add the one that you did, or you could cut another one and do it in a metallic card or white card, all kinds of things. So once I've got to this stage, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take another one of these and I need to cut out a space from this. I also need to cut the aerial off this because I'm just keeping my aerial on the back. So I'm going to cut my aerial off. And again, I could add this aerial. On top of this one, and it will just make it nice and thick and sturdy. So it's gonna last, and it's gonna, depending on who I'm giving it to as well. If I gave it to one of my grandchildren, I'd want it to be a little bit sturdy. So anyway, I've cut my aerial off this one, and now obviously I need to create the hole. So what I did to do that is I put this piece on top, and then I've drawn around here with a pencil, and then I've just poked my scissors in and I've cut around and I've gone past the pencil line. So you can see I've taken a fair bit off there, and this I'm now going to stick on the front. So, and it doesn't, if this is a bit scruffy, don't worry, because we're going to be sticking this front piece on top of it. So don't worry if it's a little bit scruffy. As long as it goes all the way around and can attach to these tabs and has feet, that'll do. And if you wanted to do this twice, again, you'd give yourself a bit more strength. So now I'm going to add my glue. Yeah, you can use all the bits that you cut off this. You can just add to give you strength in other areas. Because this can actually be a really solid, I mean, it's fairly solid as it is, but the more layers you glue on, the more solid it's going to be. So I'm just going around all those little tabs, all that, the 1/8 of an inch that I cut a fringe in. I'm just going all the way around, trying not to be too blobby. But like I said, I will show you how to remove if you do get a little bit excited with the glue, because it does happen from time to time, doesn't it? There we go. So we've got that one there, and then we line this one up, and we just can take a little bit of time to line it up. If you find this a little bit tricky, don't worry. Again, you can do it like we did the back and do it a bit at a time. I'm wondering if I've bitten off a little bit more than I can chew here. But that's because it's alive, isn't it? It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Come on, Rachel. You can do this. So I'm just making sure that everything, and you know, I'm not worried about it being a little bit messy, because like I said, I'm going to be putting that front piece on top of here, so it doesn't matter if it's a little bit messy, which is a good job, isn't it? Because it is a little bit messy. Let's get that on there. It's just holding it long enough for the glue to grab. I'm putting my thumb underneath in places and pushing the tabs against the card. Yeah, I should have done it in a couple of sections, really. I was being a bit overexcitable. Trying to stick it all in one go. But there we go, we're done. And I'm not worried about these extra gluey bits. That's fine, because I'm going to be covering them over. I'm just going to give that a couple of minutes just for the glue to set, because we don't want it to ping off. There we go. That's good. So what I wanted to show you was, if you get gluey bits, I've got a gluey bit here. Once it's dry, you can get a grey eraser. This one's a Tombow mono one. But you can get a grey eraser and just gently go over the gluey bit that you want to get rid of, and that will it'll eventually get rid of it. The other thing these erasers will do is they'll rub out, you can get rid of, like if you've got an ink smudge, if you've been stamping, they're really good for that. I need to just stick my finger there. But they're really good for tidying up things like this. So you can use a rubber like that to get rid of any excess glue. And the other thing you can do is, if you don't have a rubber like that, oh, oh, thanks, Sally. The other thing you can do, if you've got gluey bits that you can't, you don't like, you can use a black pen or some black paint, and just spend a bit of time and cover them over. So there's always a way of getting things to look how you want them to look. Right, so this has had a few minutes now, and look at the state of this, but that's absolutely fine. because I'm going to be adding the front piece. Okay, so let me get this. Let's stick that on. There we are. So I've now got that front panel that cuts on its own, and that just tidies everything up nicely. There. Make sure it's all in place and where it should be. Yes, lovely. So there we go. So now that's pretty much the I don't know what you'd call it, the 3D piece. Just getting everything where I want it. So I'll show you what I did next with mine, and I'll also give you a couple more hints. Yeah, black gesso, Ali. Whatever you like to use. If you've got something like this and it's gluey and whatever, just don't worry about it. Just cover it up. And on this one, look, you can see I made a bit of a mistake with my cutting. It's fine. I'm gonna paint this and cover it in all kinds of things, and nobody will ever know. But I've got a nice solid 3D piece now. I mean, they're really solid when they're made. It's great. So the next thing I'm going to do for mine is I've done a combination of things. I've used glue in there, and then I've added this is called mineral powder, and I've used that. You could use balls. Let me show you. Yeah, you could use like 3D balls. You could use anything. You could moss would be really nice in the bottom of there, depending on what you're doing. Oh, thanks, Jan. I'm using this is let me take my tape off there. This is Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. They had a really good deal on it, and I thought I'd try it, and it's good. It's good stuff, and it's got a pretty lid. So, you know, sucker for a pretty lid. So yeah, so I fill in the bottom, and for me that was handy as well, because I've added that little piece of card on mine. It meant that I could hide all of that by adding some mineral powder. So I've done that, and I'll show you this one, because this one's nearly dry. I added some soft body gel to the mineral powder on this one. But like I said, you could just pop glue in there. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see it in there. I'm trying to get the angle. There's not much. Hang on, let me bring. Oh, let's see. There, hopefully I can see that now. You can see I've sort of given myself a bit of a floor there. Cool. So then what I did with my little astronaut one, let me get that lamp back where it was so you can see what I'm doing. Then what I did is I cut some moons, and I made a mistake because I put the final layer on before I put the second layer on. So what I've ended up is I've done two. But what I wanted to show you was when you're putting things in, if you make this particular TV, when you're putting things in there, there is a little something you need to be aware of. And I'm going to show you a tip now. I'm just deciding which one of these I want to. That's very contrasting. And that's quite bland. I'm going to go with this one. The stamp set is out of stock. Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame. I'm sure it'll be back in stock soon. I don't think it'll be out of stock for long, because it's been very loved. So, right, if you want to pop something in here, it's an odd angle here, so you can't cut it like you would if you were putting it on a flat thing. So what you'll need to do again is take either one of these. This one's easier to use because it's got no legs on it, and you use this to, I'm just deciding what bit I'm going to want to show. So put this on your element and then draw around this to help create, it needs to come about there actually, to create the right angle and shape to fit in there, because if you cut it straight, it doesn't fit, because I tried and got very frustrated until I realised that it was an odd angle. So now I've cut that, it will sit really nicely in there. And what I used to stick in here, I used, bear with me, I used some 3D gel, but use whatever you normally use. And again, don't, these bits will always come in handy for, other projects. So let's get a bit of 3D gel. And here I might have to open a new one, I think. The angle thing, Sue, yeah, it's I didn't think of it either. And I can't tell you how frustrated I got trying to figure it out. And then eventually the penny dropped and I realised that it just wasn't going to sit right. Need a bit more on the bottom. It wasn't going to sit right because, of course, it's a completely different angle. Right, let's try that again. So, and don't worry about any extra bits of glue and things. Don't worry about that, because we can cover it up with more. You can cover it up with more of whatever you've used to make the floor in there. It's fine. And we're going to put lots of other bits in there, so it's going to be good. Now, so that was my hint for the cutting things that you want to put in there. The next hint I'll give you is, of course, you can use paper plants and paper flowers or anything. Hi, Alicia. Thank you. Anything like that you want to put in. But what I've got, and what I used in this one, I'll show you now. I got myself a stash. This is one of my top hints for people who like doing mixed media things. I got myself a stash of goldfish plants, and I got them really, really cheaply from Amazon. And I've used loads of them, and I've still got loads left. And because I can just cut bits off, you don't need to use full plants. They take gesso just fine. I did a project. Oh, when did I do my project? I can't remember. Not this weekend because I was away. But this has been painted. This was pink, and it's been painted, gessoed and painted, and the green has been gessoed and painted. So they come out really well. So I thoroughly recommend getting yourself a stash of goldfish bowl plants from Amazon. because they're great. I'm just cutting some bits off that I'm gonna use. I'm not painting them for this because I think the bright colours really work on this. Let's have a few of those, and I do really like these like lily leaf things. They're really cute. Oh, Ali, I like messing around with things and seeing what I can do with things. It gives me a lot of happiness. Just playing about. I'm going to pinch some of these off here. That might be enough, or maybe I'll just take one of those off there. I can't just have one, can I? Right, I'm probably not going to use all of these, but I'm just giving myself a little selection. But yeah, goldfish or aquarium plants. Gosh, I can't remember how much these cost, but there were. I mean, I wouldn't have fitted all of them in the box when I first got them, and they weren't a lot of money because I don't have a lot of money to be spending on my craft supplies, sadly. But yeah, I mean, look, such interesting shapes and textures, and they're brilliant. They're absolutely. I love them. I think they're great. And even the little stones that they're set in, they're really useful as well. So anyway, let me stop praising my my aquarium plants and move on. Oh, I don't know if I'm clever. I think I'm just I'm inquisitive and I like messing around with things. Oh no, be careful, Rachel, don't knock the camera off. Right, there we go. So we've got some plants. The other thing I need some astronauts, or yeah, it is astronauts, isn't it? That's the right word. Yeah, astronauts. I don't know why that sounded wrong, but it did. But yeah, and I like threes. I think odd numbers are good. So, and I'm gonna I might add a little bit of colour to them. How are we doing for time? Oh, I've got a little bit, I don't want to take too long, but I've got enough time to just finish this off, I think. Oh, it was all that excitement of aquatic plants, wasn't it? But, right, I am going to get some colour on these. I'm going to have that one. And that one. And that one. And maybe those two. I've got a right mix of pencils that I use. One. I think that should be enough to add the little bits that I want to add. The orange and red, oh, I just love them. Just love them. Right, so I'm just going to add a little bit of detail in with my pencils now. And I know there's already highlights on these helmets, which is really helpful. But I do like to add a little bit of my own as well. So I start, this is a silver pencil, or is it light grey? I thought I picked up silver, I'm not sure. But it's either silver or light grey. And then I'm just going to go around the edge in a dark grey and a black. and leave a little bit of space. Can you see what I'm doing? Just about. So just add in. That's the beauty of these little astronauts, is you don't have to add too much to them, really. And look. And I keep meaning to cut out the what do you call it, the visor. I keep meaning to cut out the visor and put my grandchildren's faces in them, because I think they'd really get a kick out of it, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But I think that's a really fun idea. I think they'd really enjoy that. There we go. That one's... I'll just put his other bits on. I've gone over the line a little bit there, but they are very forgiving. I should have sharpened my pencils, but I'm just aware of time. Right. Oh, they're so cute. They are so cute. I thought as well I could have one as a little ornament on the top as well, or shrinky dink them, because that is ace, shrinky dinking them. I love doing that. Oh, the grandchild. Yeah, I know. I really have got to, I've got to do it. I've got to do it, because I think they'll really, really enjoy that. And it'll be so easy to do. You just cut this little visor piece out. And in the bigger astronauts, it'll be even easier. Cut this piece out, put their faces in behind, and Bob's your uncle. Well, in fact, he is. Bob is my uncle. But, I always used to find that phrase really confusing, because Bob is my uncle. Yes, he is. How do you know? There we go. I do apologise for not doing my best colouring. But again, they are really forgiving, and of course, if you go over these little lines, get a white pen or a white pencil, and it's really easy to tidy up. Oh my goodness. They are so much fun. There we go, and last one, and then we'll put it all together. This is kind of how I work, but you might do it completely differently. But I like to assemble all the little pieces that I'm going to put onto a project, and then put them on there. I struggle with doing it, putting a bit on and then coming back to it. I like to have everything in front of me, so I can play about with it and see what I think looks nice where. There we go. Let's just finish this off. Like that. That one. So that one. Just finishing these off. Should have covered them first, shouldn't I? And I've gone over a little bit there, but it's fine. Right, let's stick some things in here now. Then you think you could put little lights in here as well. You can get little like little tiny sets of lights. I think they're like 4 or 5. Yeah, 5 strands of 5 LED lights. I have to arrange them and take a photo. Yeah. I frequently do that. I frequently take photos if I've sort of had a play around and I like the look of where I put something. Then I take a photo because I can't be trusted to remember. I really can't. Right, I'm going to put this guy where I put him last time actually because I quite like him up on the planet. So he's there on the planet, or she's there on the planet. Then I'm gonna play around with these. Let's have a look. And again, I'm not too worried about being a bit blobby with this because I can always add more if I want to. I've got that one coming out a little bit. I didn't do that before, but I quite like it. That needs to cut down a little bit. Oh, I like it. Right. Let's put this little guy sitting down. There we go. And then I've got one more here. Oh, get back there, cheeky. Oh. Could do with using my tweezers, really, I think. There we go. Sorry, I'm out of your view with this. I'm sorry. I'll put it so you can see it in a minute. Just add in just very forgiving because sorry, I'm concentrating on I am stopping talking, which is unusual. There we go. I'm just trying to get these little pieces in, and as I was saying, it's very forgiving in terms of, you know, I'm using quite I'm not being very sparing with my adhesive, and it's managing to get in there and hide it quite nicely. I do need one more of these flowers, otherwise I won't be happy. Let's stick that one. Oh, lovely, and I can put those back in their box. Let me put the lid on my bloom. Oh, I think lights would be fabulous. You could even put them in through the holes in the back and all sorts. So there you go. I've got to put the little, I've got to cut the little buttons and put them on. But other than that, I think I'm done. Let me see if I can. Oh, hello. I'll bring you in a little bit closer. There you are. Yeah, the vision on. Oh my goodness, that would be brilliant. But yeah, so apart from the little buttons, which I'll pop on in a bit, that's pretty much it. That is pretty much it. Oh, I'm really glad you like it. I'm really, really pleased. Because you never know, do you? When you make something, you never know if it's going to be something other people will enjoy as well. So I'm really pleased that you do. It's really lovely. So thank you very much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure. Um, and the die is available on Funky Fossil website. Nunu's collection. If there's bits that are out of stock, I'm sure that they will not be long before they're in stock. And yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. I've had a lovely time, and hopefully I'll be back again. Well, I don't know when, but hopefully I'll be back again. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. And don't forget, if there's anything you want to know or weren't sure about, please don't hesitate. I am approachable. I do I do play well with others. So don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you.